Stay tuned after our feature for a special
Bubsy 4D is quite easily my game of the year, by default. I don't really keep up with a lot of new releases. Truth be told, I think this is the first game in like 5 years I've pre-ordered, at least since No More Heroes 3. These games are so much alike, but like, I had to get this game. It's Bubsy. I love Bubsy for some reason. If you're a Bubsy fan like me, the current renaissance that the franchise has been experiencing has been as incredible as it is a little unnerving. I mean, there are all these new people around and nobody wants to shove me in a locker. What's going on? You see, being a Bubsy fan is the circle of hell below Sonic. I can't tell you why I like this thing. In fact, I might be the best equipped and most eager to explain to you why I shouldn't. But in part, that's sort of the hook. Following this put-upon cast as they star in games that typically range from fine to abysmal to oops. And yet, like Sonic, the first time anyone's ever said that about Bubsy, there's always something to talk about. Something sometimes desperate, but nonetheless fascinating to interrogate as the franchise takes such ambitious swings as attempting to usurp its idol, or attempting to pioneer the 3D platformer, or attempting to exist after being laughed out of the industry for 2 decades.
God, he looks awful in this game.
And against the wishes of my SEO, this will be far from the last time that I talk about this acquired taste of a franchise. So join me later in the season when I talk about the Willy Strike Back for longer than the game itself. However, this new game, Bubsy 4D, is an especially interesting case. Bubsy's already been brought back before, twice even, but now the IP is owned by Atari, somehow, who have seemingly decided that this is their life's mission. You are going to like Bubsy! If I worked at Tomo, I'd be punching the fucking air right now. We're now in a scenario in which the Bubsy series, after decades of derision and making it worse, is releasing its most esteemed and anticipated title to date. And after giving it some time for myself, I can confirm it's really good. I like this game. I'll find some SAT words later to better explain myself, but man, I just like it. You know, it's a really good 3D platformer. A bit short and also a little jank in some areas, but if you think you would enjoy a game that blends Super Mario Sunshine secret stages with Mario Odyssey speedrunning, or if this sentiment resonates at all with you, then I'd recommend checking it out if you get the chance. It's not perfect, but the love that clearly went into it is evident in its every facet. And that love in itself effectively acts as its thesis. How fun it is to make things, and how even in an environment cynical of that fun, it's that enjoyment that is the purpose of having something made in the first place. And as I would say if I was trying to convince you to let me go in the Chuck E. Cheese tubes, I think that's worth exploring. How Bubsy 4D is able to reinvent a series soaked in sarcasm to instead have its earnestness at the forefront. To begin with, let's assess exactly what Bubsy 4D is adapting and how. You see, Bubsy 4D is named as such because this is the 4th attempt at making Bubsy 4. Because the game is an intended follow-up to the infamous Bubsy 3D. Wow, that's the dumbest idea ever, said indie developer Fabraz as they proceeded to sign every document in front of them. I don't know if you've heard, but Bubsy 3D has a couple of issues. Also, some things that I personally think it does kind of well. However, my contract does stipulate that must be for another day. For now, I want to focus on how Bubsy 4D adapts 2 of the most maligned elements from the PlayStation 1 classic. Game, Bubsy. Oh, thank God. Humor has always been a Bubsy cornerstone, for better or worse. In its early days, as one of a million Sonic the Hedgehog likes, Bubsy attempted to stand out by bringing its voice to the forefront, figuratively and literally.
What could possibly go wrong?
The character took equal parts from Bugs Bunny, Sonic the Hedgehog, dollar store joke books, and a referential relationship to 90s pop culture, all blended into a smoothie that could still be considered a solid. But the series' jump into 3D would ultimately bring things a little too far. The jokes were more frequent, more juvenile, and all delivered in a pitch previously undiscovered.
Now, what would a platform game be without spicy meatballs? I don't have health care.
After 3D, and as the age of online personalities grew, the profile of the series developed into the legacy of some of the worst games ever made, which eventually drew enough attention back to the franchise to create a new game after a 20-year hiatus to capitalize on that renewed, ironic interest, that Shrek meme-esque status, which itself would be kind of hard to translate to a 2020s environment that was post-ironic Shrek, where ironic engagement with the staleness of ironic enjoyment of the meme had itself staled as a meme. I hate words!
It's a bird!
Rather, Bubsy 4D starts fresh, using the colors and bombast of its framework to opt for a much more low-key comedy, relying less on references to instead derive its humor from its characters and their relationships. Our cast is still made up of all the household names if you like to come over, but it's been a couple of years since their last game. Actually, in-game, it's been about a decade since their last adventure. Our scattered-brain scamp has now turned into a fun uncle. Terry and Terry are teenagers. Virgil got cold, and that maturity extends to the writing. It's a lot more subdued and snarky, more similar to a single-camera sitcom. It's characters that are out of this world having been squarely situated back down to earth. Bubsy still makes his little fourth wall breaks, but it's treated more like a bit that everyone's beyond trying to figure out. He still makes his silly little quips, but not a single person in the world cares, and it does make me feel like the Butters tweet. Bubsy 4D is the original Bubsy games what the Looney Tunes show is to the Looney Tunes. It's an exploration of new comedic opportunities for these characters by reconfiguring them to a more modern context and style, which also works because the dialogue and writing here is genuinely funny. I especially love how Bubsy himself plays off of the rest of the cast. He's technically more mature on paper, but everyone around him are either actually mature, smart cynics and or kids that he embarrassingly wants to seem cool in front of. And that friction just spotlights how much Bubsy's faking his stoic hero routine. I mean, he's not a cynic. He's Bubsy. He's more equipped than ever to be making dad jokes. He's older, but he's still driven by his sense of adventure. If it weren't for his friends, sure, he'd probably spend the whole day on the couch, but they're there to encourage him, in their own way, to be the hero that he says he is. And his innate frolic makes him the perfect foil for the Bobot's pessimism. But all that narrative nonsense only matters insofar as it complements the gameplay. Why don't I ever get to pick for movie night? Now, if you're trying to improve Bubsy 3D's controls, you can only really go up, you would think. But movement seems to be the paramount improvement above all else, even admitted as such in the game's manual, particularly focusing on giving the player as much control and, in turn, freedom as possible.
Wait, hold on. What are the controls again? Oh.
Any game whose pause menu gives you a spreadsheet of minute things to tweak cares about you to an unfathomable degree. Similarly, any developer who defaults crouch to the A button will get asked about that at the gates of heaven. For Bubsy's moveset, 4D brings back the glide and pounce of previous games, but also gives you a double jump that can be linked with either or both, a new monkey ball-inspired hairball mode with accompanying boost and drift. As well, you have a homing attack, a wall jump, a wall cling, triple jump, crouch jump, twirl jump, a second wall jump, I guess. What the hell could that mean? Did I put in Steel Battalion? It can feel like a lot, especially with some of those and even more being incrementally unlocked by collecting blueprints. And though it's overwhelming, and some of the moves like the homing attack suck, once you're accustomed to it, every level becomes a playground to experiment in and find new ways of compounding your abilities. I have no doubts that there were countless exploits discovered and subsequently left in because they were fun to perform. I made the comparison earlier to Mario Odyssey, and it's clear that that game, and specifically its speedrunning scene, had a huge impact on Bubsy 4D. Every level strikes this great balance between being as exciting to explore and find its various collectibles as it is to race through for a spot on the leaderboards. And you know, I'm a bit of a speedrunner myself. Leaderboards beat the level in 3.5 minutes, and I also beat it.
Also, Bubsy is just like off camera a little bit. I feel like that shouldn't go unspoken.
But I think more than just fixing the past, Bubsy 4D strives to have hope for the future. You see, the Bobots, our new antagonists, born from the Woolies' haywire incompetence, seek to destroy the universe and recreate it in their own inorganic image, stealing the Earth's most powerful resource to do it. However, they're also bad at creating. The Bobots' aesthetic choices feel indecisive and arbitrary, although also notably focused on uncannily recreating handcraft materials materials. Whether it's these unusably big office supplies, cardboard houses whose residents outright tell you are inhospitable, lace roads that lead to nowhere, a skate park, I guess? And that syntheticness to the environments could be chalked up as a platformer genre convention, but it's regarded by several characters, even multiple Woolies. The second boss takes place in an arena full of cardboard cutouts just to make it look like the Bobots have fans. So with all of that in mind, it raises the question of what the Bobots are potentially meant to represent.
Stupid robot. What are you gonna do? AI generate a threat to me?
Not now, Bubsy. I'm trying to think. The final world of the game is a planet entirely made of e-waste, garbage, and machinery pretending to make, all surrounded by a sea of disgusting water that the Bobots feign is alright. They can generate planet after facsimile of what looks like hand stitching, but all they're really good at is expensive waste. And when presented with the Bobots offered of an improved, cyber-enhanced way of life at the cost of his humanity.
What?
I don't want to hear a single bad thing about that Bobcat again. Bubsy and the Bobots both want but fail to seem mature by adopting cynicism. Bubsy because he's an idiot, non-derogatory, and the Bobots because they're idiots, derogatory. The Bobots are the conclusion to a selfish cynicism. If nothing matters, then there is only gain in destroying and then reconstituting the universe with yourself at the top. Yet, despite the ambition required for that recreation, the Bobots don't care about creation, which goes back to the level's syntheticness. Drawing attention to this also brings the inhabitability of these worlds in as part of the narrative. The Bobots don't care about making a better world, they just want a world made, whatever the cheapest, quickest manner of doing so is, also that whatever is made they can be above and fulfill their own prophecy of excellence. So, as I would say if I was several days stuck in the Chuck E. Cheese tubes, the world sucks. It's a cold, cruel, cynical place made without any care for the people who actually live in it. And the ultimate spite against that system is to have fun anyway. The seriousness and weight of believing everything is doomed is only as powerful insofar as you believe it. The best counter against that pessimism is someone who is too hopeful and fun-loving to be anything but optimistic, whose what could possibly go wrong attitude pierces through any bitterness and... Oh, fuck, I'm talking about Bubsy, aren't I?
That's a switch!
That's why movement is so prioritized. Bubsy 4D strives to be fun to play because it's about how fun it is to play. But otherwise, the game shows you the power of being creative by empowering you to be creative, giving you countless combinations of tools and encouraging you to discover the best ways of utilizing them, both for the sake of exploration and for speedrunning. In fact, I think that specific inspiration makes the game's goals even clearer. Speedrunning is a culture entirely made out of communal creativity, built on the foundation of appreciating the work that goes into making video games, and sustained by the work of speedrunners coming together to share strategies or techniques, or even just a fun hobby. Your narrative overcoming of the Bobots' pessimism parallels your mechanical freedom. As a result, it more emotionally involves the player in the fun that the game thematically strives to inspire. Further, and in contrast to the Bobots, Bubsy's desire to seem mature stems mostly from a want for community. Put simply, he wants to be liked. He wants his nephew and niece to think he's cool. He wants his crush to please, dear God, laugh at one of his puns. He wants to be seen as the hero he's archetypically meant to be, but he doesn't fit that stoic archetype. And as it turns out, that's to his benefit. He doesn't care about power, he cares about having fun. Moreover, meta-narratively, Bubsy is, frankly put, the best and funniest option to make this point with. For the past 3 decades, every game that he starred in has been critically eviscerated. We've even gone back to reevaluate the acclaimed ones, like, no, wait a minute, these sucks too. At this point, Bubsy is basically anthropomorphized human error. No algorithm or machine programmed in the effort of perfection would strive for this. But that's why it's so amazing and important to see people coming together to make something so inventive and creative out of those ideas. Bubsy 4D is an effective love letter to video games, to speedrunning, and to the hard work that drives any creative endeavor. It is an absolutely incredible game. And even though it's not perfect, even its errors carry with them that reminder of humanity. Bubsy 4D is as creative as it is a celebration of creativity. Additionally, I also hope that Fabraz gets to expand on what they have here. Bubsy 4D is already something special. I wouldn't change a thing about it except removing 3.1, but it feels at the cusp of its potential. So I think another shot at this franchise furthering in this direction could be even better. Though as it is, I think the game's amazing. I think it's great, I love it a lot, and I wouldn't change a thing. Welcome, Mojo, to the top 10 things that I want to see in Bubsy 4 DLC or Bubsy 4D 2. Number 10. Please name it that. I think it's funny. Number 9. I really like the costumes and I would like to see more of them, please. Number 8. Me. Number 7. Please. Number 6. For boss fights, I'd like to see more that are level and platforming based, a la the final bosses of Mario 3D Land and 3D World. I think it'd be really interesting and also thematically cohesive to the rest of the game. And also, I like Mario. That's why all my comparisons are Mario based. Number 5! Maybe adjusting the camera. I just kind of wish that there was a more like attentive option, a la Mario Odyssey, damn it. Number 4! More voice lines. I didn't really know where else to mention this, but the voice cast of this game does such a fantastic job. Marissa Lenti as Oblivia in Barbie is so funny and so expressive. Amy Smith, I admittedly wasn't as familiar with, but she absolutely kills it as Terry, and especially Terry, who legitimately had me laughing out loud. Of course, the standout here is Sean Chiplik giving one of my favorite performances of his, far and away my favorite Bubsy. He approaches the character with this perfect faux confidence, like a game show host trying not to seem insecure as he's playing the mirror ball, always making sure that whether it's at him or with him, the audience is still laughing. It's such a brilliant interpretation of the character on the part of the writers, the voice director, and especially Chiplik, and I just kind of want to hear more of it, honestly. Number 3, Virgil in Oblivia being nice to Bubsy at least once and meaning it. Number 2. Okay, so admittedly, this is my biggest and my pettiest ask, but like, I would like them to add another world. Not necessarily more levels, that would be fun, but I think the length of the game is perfectly fine. I more so just would like Bubsy 4D to have 4 worlds. And that is literally the extent of my reasoning. And the number 1 thing I want to see in a Bubsy 4D 2, please.
I gotta get a new agent.
Also, yeah, Buttons Deluxe is now on Patreon, so if you can and want, consider supporting the channel. We have a $1 tier that gets you access to behind-the-scenes, deleted scenes, and general bonus content and updates, a $3 tier that gets you all of that, plus your name in the video, and finally an $8 tier that gets you all of that, plus you get a little custom doodle with your name, little guy. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much to everybody who donates to the Patreon. I love making these videos. I really do. I have so many more that I'm working on and that I'm excited to get to. And so genuinely, every comment and like and patron, it all means the world. And I appreciate it so much. And maybe a Patreon could bring me one step closer to the $90 Kraft Mac and Cheese controller of my dreams. Okay, thanks, bye.